Alright guys, hope you're all enjoying the rest of your summer, or those of you who are back in school. Really sorry, but really kind of happy with the A&M system right now. You know, all of those Aggies and Buffs, we're still enjoying summer for the last little bit that we have left. This will be my last video from home before I go back to school, so things are going to get a little bit crazy, but it's going to be a good time. So, this week we're going to talk about what it's like to be benched. Yeah, ouch. Who likes to be benched? Nobody, right? I mean, we wouldn't play this game if we wanted to just sit on the bench and watch. If we wanted to be a spectator, we'd sit in the bleachers, right? So, we're going to talk about what it might feel like to be benched on the field, as well as maybe when we feel like we're in a slow spot in our relationship with Christ and our walk and where we are. So definitely a little bit of a sore subject sometimes. I know what it feels like to be benched. We all know what it feels like. It's definitely something we all have in common. Again, we're going to relate this a little bit back to last week's devotional when we talked about standing firm in our faith. So, when we're on the bench, we start to feel a little bit disconnected from our team, maybe. We feel, maybe coach doesn't want me out there, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not fast enough, and it may be just, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. We're not in the game, we're struggling with something, or, it's playing time issues, it's all kinds of everything, and it happens. We sit on the bench, it's part of the game. There are 9 spots on the field. All 14 of us, 15, 27, however many team can't fit on the same time. So we start to kind of feel like, for me, like I get pretty insecure sometimes, and I'm just like, okay, what am I doing here? Why am I on the bench? What did I do? Coach hates me, which, is most of the time is not true. But, we get these insecurities, and all of a sudden we start thinking all these thoughts, well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not good here, I need to work on this, I'm struggling with this, and we need to remember, it's part of the game. One, I'm still on this team, I'm still fighting for this team. It doesn't mean, I'm any less of a player if I'm on the bench right now. It's part of the game, it's part of life. So we feel like we're not making a difference, we're not contributing, and that's really tough. And we never know when our name's going to get called to come in. You could be called in to be a pinch hitter, pinch runner, going on defense, come in as a pitcher, come in as a catcher. You never know what's going to happen with this game. It can change that quick. So we have to be prepared to go into battle and to be able to fight for our team, even though we may not physically feel like we are while we're on the bench. So, same thing with our walk with Christ. My life is absolutely crazy. I forget to breathe sometimes. I'm kind of like a fish out of water. But, I have people come up to me like, Christina, breathe. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, alright. Every once in a while, it's no big deal. But, everyone can tell when I'm stressed out because, I'm just like tense, and they can tell. And, life gets crazy, and, we're working for this. We got FCA, we got school, we got softball, we got friends, and we got this like mission field that we're working towards, right? We're always striving to help somebody know Christ. We're showing God here, showing God in softball, showing God in school, exemplifying Christ in the ways that we can, whenever we can. So, summertime sometimes is a time where, we sit back and we're like, okay, so no school, maybe I'm not playing this weekend, I'm not seeing my friends, I'm not doing anything really, I'm just kind of hanging out, just, watch TV, going, working out a little bit, having some fun with friends every once in a while, but we're not full-fledged into that battle that we think we always need to be in sometimes in school or in this place where we see everyone all the time and we're working towards something. And for me, life doesn't necessarily slow down in the summer because I'm trying to keep track of my crazy family and wherever we're going and all over the place, but when I'm home, I feel like I'm safe. Like, I'm like, okay, I can let my guard down. Whatever the enemy was trying to do, when I was at school, or whatever was bothering me, whatever was stressing me out, I'm like, okay, I can just let that go. I'm home, I'm safe. I don't have to worry about this anymore. And, I kind of let my guard down. I take my armor off, I come in, and I'm like, alright, we're going to put all this down, I'm just going to relax, I'm good. And that's when the enemy gets at me the most, because, not necessarily because, home's a bad place to be. I love to be home, but just because, we take off our armor, and that's when the enemy says, oh, okay, you think you're safe, right? Well, here's this little lie, here's this little lie. Well, you start believing this, the you're not good enough lie, the, who do you think you really are lie, or the, you think you can lead these people lie, or you think you're a leader, you think you exemplify Christ when you do this, those kind of lies, and they cut really deep. I mean, they're scary, because, we start to believe them, they start to sound like truth, because we haven't prepared ourselves, we haven't protected our hearts in order to be safe from these attacks from the enemy. And though we might not feel like we're on the battlefield, like doing something right now, I'm like, okay, God, I'm not fighting for something, I'm not involved in the team right now, I'm not doing something for you, what am I doing here? Though we might, feel that way, we're still always fighting, and, there are times that God says, hey, be still, just sit there and relax, alright? Take some time, get closer to me, refresh, you're gonna be okay, you've got some crazy things coming up, but I can't tell you about it, because I need you to, get your mind right, get your heart right, and put your armor on and get ready for this. So there are times when we're not always fighting this battle that we think we should be, and it's kind of frustrating because we're like, okay, God, well, what do you have me doing here? I'm just kind of sitting here breathing. That's interesting. And there are times when God says, hey, come to me, all you who are burdened and weary, and take up some rest. Just rest, because you need it. We can't go 100 miles an hour all the time, and I'm my worst critic when I say that, because I think that I can, and don't really learn too well. But, in Ephesians 6:11 it says, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. And that's the same thing we talked about last week with standing firm. Make sure that you're prepared, you're standing firm in your faith, and that you can ward off whatever the enemy's trying to feed you, whatever these lies are that, you're home, you're like, well, you don't have any support, it's just, just doing nothing, hanging out all day. Maybe, I don't know, one of my sisters, her car's been in the shop basically all summer, so it's just sometimes I'm stuck home and I'm like, okay, so I have a bike, and it's Texas and it's a little hot outside and I'm not going anywhere. So it's kind of just this quiet time. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Twiddling my thumbs, I'm like, okay, God, what are we doing? I want to be at camp, I want to be at school, I want to be doing all this stuff. And it's just like, hey, would you just sit there for a while and be okay? And I'm like, no, I'm good with it. Actually, I'd rather go, he's like, this kid, I'm driving him crazy, I know I am. But, on this battlefield, it's an ongoing thing. 1 Peter 5:8, again, be alert and sober mind, because your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a lion, roaring, looking for someone to devour. So he's looking for us. When we're home and we think we're strong and we're weak, it's just like, okay, he's like, alright, just waiting for you to take off that armor, waiting for you to slow down so I can feed you these lies again. We take peace in knowing that God's always with us and God's always there no matter what's going on. And so whatever it is that we're doing, maybe we're not feeling like we're fighting for something, we are always working towards bettering the kingdom and sharing His love with everyone.